Today we have a kanji recap. 10 kanjis with the water radical. The kanji for water comes from a pictogram of water flowing, similar to when water comes out of the tap with some possible splashes. When water becomes a radical, it takes a minimalistic look, which is pretty much just 3 lines. You can see this radical in words such as alcohol, swim, and pond. The only kun reading is mizu, which means water, also found in the word mizugi, which means bathing suit. As for the on reading, it is only sui. It can be found in the words sui-e, which means swimming, or suiteki, which means drop of water. One last note. This kanji has 4 strokes, and it is a JLPT N5 level. And a quick reminder to always stay hydrated. This kanji is divided into 2 parts. The left-hand side is the radical of water or liquid. The right-hand side was an alcoholic drink vessel. The vessel can be better observed in the early version. If we look at the left-hand side in the dictionary, it will show us the rooster zodiac sign, but it was actually originally linked to fermentation and brewing. The kanji for alcohol has 10 strokes, and it is a JLPT N3 level. When it's time to write it, you had to start with the liquid radical, and then continue on to writing the vessel. The kun reading is sake or saka, as in sakaya or liquor store. The example is Nihon Senkoku no Ososume Sakaya Wine Shop, or all Japan's recommended liquor store and wine shop. Now, a fun fact for you. It seems that tourists happen to mistake sake for Nihonshu. Sake is just alcohol. It can be any type of alcohol. In case you want the real Japanese alcohol, you will call it Nihonshu. The on reading is shu. The example is kinshu. The sentence is kinshu chu sake o ataenai de kudasai. Please do not give alcohol in the middle of abstinence. Do not confuse. The kanji for alcohol and the kanji for sprinkle might look similar, but alcohol has the vessel on the right-hand side, while sprinkle has the kanji for west on the right-hand side. To all the ocean lovers and kanji surfers out there, we have a pretty one today, the kanji for wave. Please join me in this ride. Let's start by looking at the left, which is the radical of water. Now the right, it used to mean surface or skin, and it also represented the phonetic character. What happens if something touches the surface of the water? Well, it creates waves. Pretty simple. The kun reading is nami. The example is nami or wave. The sentence is Tsukareta kokoro ni yasashii nami no oto no kouka. The soothing effect of the sound waves on a tired mind. Fun fact! Just like in English, this kanji and word wave can also be used to describe emotional fluctuations of waves. For example, kanjo no nami means waves of emotion. The on reading is ha. The examples are hakyu or spread and denpa or radio wave. Do not confuse the kanji wave with the kanji skin or leather. Remember that wave has to have the water radical. This kanji has 8 strokes. Do you know that the word tsunami has this kanji and that the actual translation is harbor wave? Definitely a word that expresses a lot of power. It melts, it cracks, it preserves. It can stop time or signal the end of it. One flicker of warmth and it disappears. Today's kanji means ice. The kanji ice is built from water, but with one change, a single diagonal stroke to the left. But where did it come from? For that, let's go back to its Chinese roots, where the kanji water looked slightly different. In the Chinese version, we don't only see the water, but we can also see the left side showing the radical for eyes. The kanji was then simplified in the Japanese version to only keep one stroke, but in the end, it all comes down to water becoming ice. The kun reading is kori. The example is kori or ice. The sentence is kori no hana o patto sakase yo. Let's make ice flowers bloom. Fun fact, today's kanji can be seen in the word kakigori or shaved ice. It is an incredibly popular summer festival treat in Japan, showcasing a delightful use of ice. The on reading is hyo. The example is hyoga or glacier and hyozan or iceberg. Do not confuse ice with water. As we learned today, the ice kanji came from water, yet it has one extra stroke. So the next time you drop ice into water, remember, it isn't just a cold drink, you're also holding a kanji in your hand. Imagine standing in the rain, tears mixing with the drops falling from the sky, the sound of water running down your face. Was it the storm or was it your heart? That's the image hidden in today's kanji, cry. The kanji cry is made up of two main parts. On the left, the water radical, because tears are just another form of water. On the right, we have the character for standing or upright. The overall meaning of the character is upright tears flowing like water. Fun fact, while this kanji is often associated with sadness, it can also be used to describe crying out of joy or extreme emotion, like in the phrase ureshii naki, crying with joy. The kun reading is na. The examples are naku, to cry, and nakigoe, or crying voice. The sentence is naku koto no igi, the meaning of crying. Do not confuse cry with rank. I hope this is an obvious one for you, because of course cry must have the water radical. So next time you see naku, remember the water radical and the standing figure. A person who cannot stop the water from overflowing. That is the essence of crying. Ever wonder what's cooking in your kanji? Let's dive into the world of the kanji for oil. This kanji is made of two parts. The left is the radical for liquid, pretty easy. The right represented a gourd as well as the phonetic character. Putting these two together, it referred to the oil caused by liquefied flesh inside the gourd. The kun reading is abura. The examples are abura or oil and aburae or oil painting. Fun fact, there are two kanji, both read as abura, that confuse students. The first one, the one we're learning today, means oil, as in vegetable oil. The second one refers more to animal fat. The on reading is yu. The example is toyu or kerosene. The sentence is toyu no shobun ho. How to dispose of kerosene. Do not confuse oil with extract. The key difference lies in the radical. Oil has liquid, while extract has a hand. Pretty straightforward. This kanji has 8 strokes. Do you enjoy cooking oily foods? Or perhaps you prefer to just eat them? There is a word for when feelings overflow, when silence speaks through something as simple as a single drop of water, and today's kanji will capture that feeling behind a tear. Let's break it down. On the left side, we have the water radical. It shows up in a lot of kanji related to liquid, which makes sense in this kanji. On the right side, we have a component that looks a bit different from the original Chinese version, as it used to have a dog instead, and right above it there was a door. A dog moving in and out gave the sense of a flowing motion. Finally, if you put these together, water in flowing motion was a tear. The kun reading is namida. The example is namida or tear. The sentence is namida no irasto no egakikata. How to draw tears in illustrations. Fun fact! Do you find today's etymology a bit too abstract? Well, now Simplified Chinese was more creative and came out with a simpler version. It still keeps the liquid radical, but no more dogs. Now it just has the element for I. What a clever idea! But again, that's only in Chinese. The own reading is Rui. The examples are Karui, tears of gratitude, and Ruisen, tear gland. Do not confuse tear with return. Some students combine these two into a mnemonic to remember the kanji tear by saying, the water that returns when you can't hold it anymore. That might help you too. Just by thinking how complicated ancient China made this kanji by using a dog as an analogy is what really makes me want to shed some tears. Let's sit down and relax for a bit with a stress-free kanji, the kanji fountain. Although this kanji was originally all in one piece, it ended up being divided into two parts. Do you recognize the kanji on the bottom? Yes, it is the kanji for water. The kanji on the top is not the kanji for white. It was a spring mouth that with time took the shape of what looks like the kanji of white. The kun reading is Izumi. The example is Izumi or fountain. The sentence is Hoshi no kabi, yume no izumi no monogatari. Kirby's Star tells of the fountains of dreams. The on reading is Sen. The examples are onsen or hot spring and sensui or garden pond. Fun fact! This kanji can be found in the word hot spring, and here are a few facts about Japanese onsen. 1. People put a towel on their head to prevent dizziness. 2. There are 10 types of spring water in Japan. 3. Onsen have been considered gifts from the gods. And 4th, tattoos are taboo in most Japanese onsen. Do not confuse fountain with field. The clear thing about fountain is that it has the water rushing on the bottom. This kanji has 9 strokes. Have you ever been at a Japanese hot spring before? What was your experience? Type it in the comments. There is something mysterious about a lake, still on the surface, but alive underneath, a world of its own, and the kanji for lake captures that feeling perfectly. Let's break it down. On the left, we have the popular radical for water or liquid. On the right, we have a character that used to mean large. These two elements gave the combined kanji a specific meaning, a large inland body of water, that is, a lake. Fun fact! As you just learned, today's kanji is divided into water and large, giving it the meaning of lake. But why does it look like it has a moon? Well, that is because this character did not only mean large, but it also had several other meanings related to body parts. Therefore, what you see here is not a moon, but the element for flesh. The kun reading is Mizuumi, which means lake. The on reading is Ko. The examples are Kosho or wetland and Kohan or lake shore. Do not confuse lake with tide. Another interesting piece about the kanji lake is how it has what looks like the kanji old right in the middle. This element is what gives this kanji the on reading of ko. Because of its serene and often mysterious atmosphere, the word Mizuumi is frequently used in Japanese poetry, literature, and film to evoke feelings of calm and contemplation. And with that, I hope you're enjoying kanji with those same feelings. Today's kanji is both tasty and overflowing with meaning, the kanji soup and juice. This kanji is not so different from the original form, and it is divided into two parts. The left is, yes, the radical for liquid, which makes total sense. The right is, wait, isn't that the kanji for 10? But why? Well, first, it gave the phonetic reading ju, but some also believe it represented abundance of liquid as it originally referred to any kind of broth, juice, or liquid, and even tears. The kun reading is shiru. The examples are shiru or soup and nijiru or broth. Fun fact, in Japan, this kanji is used for traditional soups like miso shiru, while Western-style soups use supu. So, if you order tomato shiru instead of tomato soup, you might end up getting tomato juice instead. The on reading is ju. The example is kaju or fruit juice. The sentence is orange kaju no junyu kakaku sui, or orange juice import price trends. Do not confuse soup with 10. Can you see the difference? If you said soup is a liquid, you got it. This kanji has 5 strokes, and I'm glad you learned today how to ask for the right type of soup in a restaurant in Japan. Now, I got a challenge for you. What is the meaning of this word? Type it in the comments.